From over 10 interjections and objections coming from his legal representative, to him actually invoking his right to self-incrimination, trying to save himself and saying all these matters or most of these matters are sub judice. The question that I think we should ask ourselves is, did he protect himself enough, or he's opened a can of worms that will later on haunt him?
I do not wish to give evidence that may lead to self-incrimination, and therefore I claim the privilege against self-incrimination.
Ms. Fani and Heever, it's Mr. Matlala'S who's testifying, and let Mr. Matlala'S respond to questions.
I think I'm quite jealous of the friendships that you have. You get 5 million without security. Now you're getting 15 million from somebody you know, close to you, with not even a written agreement in place.
Not only did we see all of that drama that was playing out yesterday, but what was worse is that we saw a kind of lookalike Carrim situation that was going on. When Vusumuzi Matlala was asked about his bank statements and the fact that they're going to be subpoenaed by the Madlanga Commission, we saw not only from himself, but also from his legal representative coming across as very defensive, raising really worrying arguments that will make you think that are we about to foresee another Suliman Carrim situation, because those bank statements are about to reveal a dark secret. Is it money laundering? We don't know. Only time will tell. Let us get to everything Matlala that happened yesterday. Let's get to the video.
I think what you should try to do, I understand you've been saying that some of the issues that are being addressed with you are not practical for you because of where you are. But is it practical for you to... The Commission can subpoena the banks to give us the statements, but there is the detail that Ms. Silo refers to, which is, but what if some payments were not necessarily made to the company that had loaned the amount, which would mean that it's more practical for you to identify the payments from your statements. So would it be possible for you, when the supplementary statement is prepared, to attach the relevant statement and to indicate or identify the particular payments that were made and the entities or persons to whom those payments were made towards repaying the loan? You should be able to do that even if you are in custody.
Before we can go anywhere, number one, we need to understand that indeed there's matters of Vusumuzi Matlala are sub judice, and they are currently before the courts, meaning that it would be hard for him to actually discuss this case. It makes sense. It has all the legal basis. I get his point. Secondly, is that one of the things that are very important while you are watching these proceedings is that it has been revealed that Advocate Annelene is actually has some relations with Mswazi Msibi. It is actually seen in the program of Mswazi Msibi's funeral. I don't know what type of relationship that she has, but you can't speak at somebody else's funeral that you don't have any relationship with him. So we don't know how deep is this advocate's relationship with Mr. Msibi, but at the same time, she is merely doing her job. She's just a legal representative going to support probably a client or someone that she knows. I don't know. Only she can answer. But this basis will help you understand why she has been so defensive, especially in relation to serious legal questions that Matlala had to answer that actually come across as if Vusumuzi Matlala had some lies, some loopholes, or that might actually raise some kind of worms at a later stage. Because one of the biggest things that they relied on is that they're going to submit a supplementary affidavit, of which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't see any problem with that. But those are some of the points that I wanted to address before we get to the video. So this is how I'm going to do this video. I'm going to talk about the things that Vusumuzi Matlala spoke about, provide some commentary on what I think is necessary, and also scrutinize some of the things that he said, meaning look at the red flags and some of the problematic things about the statements that he made. So first of all, we know that he was asked about the tender, as well as the EMPD contracts, as well as some police officers. So with the Medicare 24, he invoked his right to self-incrimination and said that more than anything, he spoke about the issue of subjudice, that these matters are still before the court. He can't speak much about them because they're still before the court. Then he also spoke about the Ekurhuleni contracts and the fact that he had no contract that is concluded with Ekurhuleni, and that he only helped them once, and that's it, which was provide security once. But there was no contract that was concluded between him and Ekurhuleni. Then he spoke about the relationship that he has with the generals that he's been charged with in the 360 million tender. And he also said he can't comment on that because these matters are sub judice, and according to him, these matters should not be discussed at the Madlanga Commission because they are before the court. And I want you to also think about the fact that they said they're going to submit a supplementary affidavit in relation to this because there is recordings that are in relation to this particular issue of these officers, and they want to submit those recordings. They want to listen to those recordings and decide whether they are going to actually be able to speak about them at the commission.
Recordings which I'm disputing, so I did not want to add them now because I have to now dive deep and explain why I'm saying I'm disputing the recordings, which we still have the transcripts that we still need to transcribe again because of some of them are unofficial transcripts.
So then if I understand you correctly, and I don't want to misunderstand you, anyone appearing at page 7 that you have not dealt with, it's your submission that they are to some extent impacted by or involved in the recordings that you intend to dispute.
Yes.
He's not going to talk about these particular police officers because these matters are sub judice. Then we move to the Minister Senzo Mchunu. So when you speak about Senzo Mchunu, he said he has never met Senzo Mchunu, had no personal interactions with him, and only had some kind of communication with him when he sent a letter to Parliament. And that was not even between him and Senzo Mchunu, it was between him and the legal representative. But he was asked a very important question that I think will come back and haunt him later on. He was asked if he had any other interaction with him through another person. And he said that no, he has no interactions through his foundation or other people, and has never offered gifts or any form of gratification to Senzo Mchunu. And I think the one of speaking to Senzo Mchunu through another person will haunt him because we remember with the issue of Mogotsi. Mogotsi was seen as sort of like a middleman between Senzo Mchunu and Matlala. Yes, Matlala can't confirm if indeed Mogotsi was acting on behalf of Senzo Mchunu, but he was saying that he's acting on behalf of Senzo Mchunu, and that in and of itself is enough for him to say that I might be wrong, but this is what Mogotsi used to tell me, that he's going to speak to Senzo Mchunu on my behalf. And remember, it's not just Vusumuzi and Matlala who did something like that. We also know that even Suliman Carrim was speaking to the minister through Mogotsi. So that is an interaction through a third person. As to whether it's true or not true can be confirmed or not confirmed, it will be established later. But for now, what we know is that these people, Mogotsi was interacting with them, saying that he's speaking to the minister on their behalf. So that is why I'm saying that is quite problematic. But we'll see whether the commissioners are going to challenge that, or they're going to let it be, or he's going to address that in his supplementary.
I do not have any relationship with Minister Senzo Mchunu. I have never met Minister Mchunu and have had no interactions with him, nor have I been at any gatherings where he was present. It suffices to say that I do not know Minister Mchunu.
And just a question of clarification here, you say you have had no interactions, I take it, with personal interactions.
Yes.
Have you had any interactions on your behalf? Have there been any interactions on your behalf with Minister Mchunu to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Initiated by you? Have you ever requested anyone to engage with him on your behalf?
No, it was only during when we had to confirm whether we know each other. There's a letter that I sent to, it was sent, I think, to the IDEC committee.
Then he spoke about Patlane, General Patlane, that he does have a relationship, or he had a relationship, he knows General Patlane. However, whatever that was going on between them was after he was the general, after he got dismissed from the SAPS, or after he left the SAPS, and that he did not give him any gifts or gratification, or Patlane did any favors for him, or he doing any favors for Patlane. Then he spoke about this important piece, which for me raised a lot of red flags and made me think that he's lying. And that is the issue of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. He said he knows He met Lieutenant Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi once, and it was in relation to the 360 million tender. And he doesn't want to discuss that because of sub judice and the right to self-incrimination. He doesn't want to incriminate himself. And he said that they asked him if there's any other issues, because it's not like you and Mkhwanazi met regarding the 360 tender. And he said, not really that there's other issues. We talk about the tender. And the lawyer came in and jumped. And when the lawyer jumped in, she said, no, other matters that were discussed was the Johannesburg High Court case. And what is the Johannesburg High Court case, to those who don't know? The Johannesburg High Court case is the case that currently Vusumuzi Matlala'S is undergoing a trial of, which is the case of the Mogotsi. And from that meeting, it seems like Matlala was told that there's a warrant of arrest in relation to that. He's going to be arrested.
It's Medicare 24, it's the warrant of arrest.
Yes.
Are there additional matters?
No, there's no other additional matters.
All right. Thank you.
So then if I understand you correctly, what was discussed on that one occasion you met with Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi were the two issues, matters relating to the Medicare 24 contract, that's one.
Yes.
And secondly, the issue regarding your warrant of arrest.
Yes.
And now you confirm those were the only two issues.
Yes.
Now, on the warrant of arrest, is it, you said the Johannesburg case?
Yes.
The only reference you've made to a Johannesburg case is what's set out in paragraph 7.1
7.1.
of your statement?
7.1.
7.1. Is it that matter, is it in relation to that matter or a different matter?
Can I please check?
Please do.
Chairperson, just to save time, simply put, my instructions are that General Mkhwanazi told the client there's a warrant of arrest out for you. You will be arrested on the matter that is currently parted in the High Court of Johannesburg. I think it's easier that we just place it on record.
Chair, I have challenges. I don't know whether...
I also, even as you started speaking, Ms. Fani Heever, it's Mr. Matlala who's testifying, and let Mr. Matlala respond.
But if you guys can remember the testimony of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, which is so important, he broke down this meeting. He took his time explaining his meeting. Number one, the purpose of the meeting also was to discuss the issue of Nengi. Remember, General Sinona is the one that makes sure that this meeting actually happens. He was the middleman to ensure that this meeting actually happens. Even though Matlala initially told us that Pegitgal is the one that made sure that this meeting happens, the person that ensured that this meeting happens is Sinona from the version of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. So we're going to put these two versions, and you as the viewer, I want you to decide which version you think is more truthful. So Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi comes and says, Nengi, there was that situation of Nengi. They discussed the Nengi situation because Sinona came to General Mkhwanazi and told General Mkhwanazi that actually Matlala might assist in this situation of Nengi because Nengi is the visitor of Vusumuzi Matlala. That case is not sub judice, the Nengi case, because the charges against Nengi have been withdrawn and the Lieutenant Mkhwanazi and Sinona have not been found guilty of any misconduct. Unless there's some police investigation, because one of the things that I've seen about Matlala is that he assumes, he has a lot of assumptions about some police investigations that he's not even sure of, but because his name was mentioned, therefore there's an investigation against him and he can't answer. So that's one of the things that I want you to put into your mind whenever you think about this. That he's been very invasive and doesn't want to answer in relation to the certain cases, saying there might be investigations. So Nengi, we know there's nothing there. You should have told the commissioners more about the Nengi case, which Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi told us that was discussed in that particular meeting, and he promised that he's going to help them to make sure that this case goes away and speak to Nengi, because Nengi was actually suing the police for torture after he was arrested in relation to a kidnapping of somebody who is Desai, all of that case of Desai. I've spoken about the Desai case. I would recommend that you go watch my videos regarding Desai if you are new in the channel and you don't know about Desai. So I just encourage you to go watch. There's a latest episode that I made not long ago regarding the kidnappings and the Desai case and all of that. And I think it was the episode of Mazwi Kupeka. Yes. Go and check that. And what we understand from that case of Desai is that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi wanted, it seems like from Vusumuzi Matlala, wanted help. So Matlala had to ensure that that case is dealt with, gone. Matlala said that Lieutenant Mkhwanazi wanted that case gone. Why not talk about that? Because those are some of the things that were discussed in that meeting in Durban.
Find him. So now I was with him in Gauteng, and I told him that there is a Nangi guy that is opening a case against my team. And Pat took the phone, he called Nangi. This is what Sunona tells me. That Pat took the phone and he calls Nangi. And he told Nangi that, hey, don't get involved in this case. Why did you open a case? And Nangi said to him, it is Sibiya that influenced him to open a case. But otherwise, he's no longer going to participate.
Not just that, we also heard that in that meeting, we found information regarding Motsumi. Because these people, they say they are old men, guys. So I don't want to call them like, they are old men. And Mr. Motsumi, I didn't do anything, okay? Don't come for me. I'm just reporting. We found out that in that meeting, he was discussed. Vusumuzi came out of nowhere, unprovoked, started providing information to Lieutenant Mkhwanazi about Ntate Motsumi. And Hafeza ubulela ka Ntate Motsumi in that meeting. Another thing that we heard, Sibiya and Motsumi, they have a relationship somehow. And also about the Balas, the house, another house of Sibiya, and how is Sibiya close to Motsumi. We found out all of that from Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's testimony where at the ad hoc committee. That is not sub judice. That is not some investigation. That's another red flag loophole that is going to haunt him. I don't know if he's going to address that at the supplementary, because that's one of the things that I've seen about him. He was just touching bases. It's like he was trying to test the waters. Let me test the waters. And in the supplementary, he's going to fix his mess. I wouldn't be shocked if he does that.
So we spoke. That's when he then gave me this information. The information is about Steve Motsumi. Steve Motsumi is a name that the 68 million people, excluding the independent podcasters, they are the ones that got guts to talk about Steve Motsumi. The rest of media houses in South Africa don't want to research about that person. It's a name that has come out so many times, Steve Motsumi. He told me about Steve Motsumi. He gave me the address of the house of Steve Motsumi. He told me about activities of Sibiya, how the Sibiya is collecting money. He told me about the property of Sibiya that I didn't know. He gave me the address. He told me about the Impalas he bought for Sibiya. This is all coming from CAD voluntarily. I don't have a clue about all these things. The properties in a townhouse in Sentin. So I take note of all these things. And then he asked one thing, but the other one was just a comment which we couldn't do much about it. The first one was, I've got this contract, I've got so many people that I should be paying that I haven't paid, but the police not placing an order. Can you get General Mkhwanazi to meet up with me so we can discuss and get to hear what is the issue? Then I said, well, I'll talk to General Mkhwanazi, but I don't know anything about the contract, but I'll talk to her. The feedback will come to Snon. That is one. Two, what is the next thing? The next thing is that I hear that there's investigation in Gauteng on an attempted murder of his ex-girlfriend. What is happening on that? I said, no, don't ask me that question.
So that's one of the things that are red flags. The interjection from the legal representative and also the lies that he's already telling regarding the meeting with Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and invoking the right to self-incrimination. And I think here, one thing you should realize about this legal representative, every time when there's significant legal questions where Matlala might be lying, she comes in with objections. And as I've said in the beginning of this video, she made more than 10 objections in the proceedings. She was just objecting, and testifying. Because even here, the commissioners even said, you can't be testifying from the bar unless you just take the witness box and you speak. And it makes sense why it feels like she knows all of these things, She's so passionate. She wants to object about things where she was not even there. But the question still remains, what's her relationship with Mswazi? Why was she doing that funeral? Okay. If it's client attorney privilege information, we don't know. We'll see as time goes by what actually happens. Fani, Molefe, as well as Khan, denied a relationship with them, interaction with them, or meeting them in any gathering. Said he doesn't know them. Then he spoke about the Losco African Bank. I know that you might be asking yourself, Kanjani, because there's a recording of Matlala saying that Khan borrowed money. Khan wanted money from him. He's disputing that recording, He's heavily disputing that recording. Hence, according to him, that recording doesn't exist. He speaks as if that recording doesn't exist. And according to him, Khan never asked for money. He doesn't know Khan. That recording was tampered with. There's something wrong with that recording. So that is why. Hence, this version of Matlala'S. Then there's that Losco bank, African bank card, which Fani had and was spending money on it. And he also invoked the right to self-incrimination because the matter is still with the court, 360 million tender, and the fact that this Losco bank or Losco Africa is involved as one of the accused persons in that particular case. So he can't speak about them and how Mogotsi found himself having the card and spending and all of that. Then we go to a very important case, which is the case of Mr. Maluleke, who was homeless and somehow stayed with Matlala'S and happened to be a witness in the case of General Khan. So Mogotsi wanted Mr. Maluleke to actually testify in favor of General Khan, and Maluleke wanted a promotion and money in return. So what was happening is that all of this was happening during the time when Matlala'S was being raided, and there was that attempted assault and all of those things that were happening to him. So what he wanted, what was going on in this situation is that Maluleke will actually give Matlala'S updates on this case, that Mogotsi wants him to actually testify in favor of Khan, and he thinks that's a good thing because at that time Matlala'S had problems with the police. So I don't know if this is insinuating that Khan was going to have Matlala'S in the future, because if Maluleke, who's helped by Matlala'S, actually is on the right side and forms a relationship with Khan, somehow Khan is going to help. It looks like that is some of the insinuations that were made. But remember, this was day one. The commissioners could not even probe him that much because they had to first find out his version before they can start probing. But the question that I will have is, why would Maluleke give you updates about the case of General Khan, even though his answer was that no, it's because at that time I was being raided and there's just a lot happening, was in trouble with the police, and it seems like Maluleke was willing to help. And he said that he spoke to Maluleke many a times and knows Maluleke. So that in and of itself, to me, it seems as if Maluleke was trying to have a relationship with Khan by testifying in favor of Khan, so that Khan can help them in the future in relation to the troubles that Matlala'S was starting to have with the police. I don't know.
Besides testifying, what role did you understand was required of you? What role did you understand was expected of you?
Of me?
Yes, in all of this,
No, it's not of... There was no role. I think Mr. Maluleke wanted to do me a favor.
Yes.
Because of he was under the impression that at that point I'm not in good terms with the police.
Yes.
So then the very same police, they are the same people who asked him to come and testify. Mm-hmm. So he wanted to do me a favor and then testify in favor of the person that they wanted to discipline, I think.
Okay.
Then he spoke about General Sibiya, said that he can't speak about General Sibiya and his relationship with General Sibiya because of self-incrimination invoked. And he spoke about the fact that there's current investigations because of witness C's recording. That I'm saying that Matlala'S is currently actually disputing and doesn't want to talk about what is contained in that recording because he's disputing that and is found out there's actually an ongoing police investigation in relation to his relationship with Sibiya and specifically the issue of imbalance. And that's the thing. He says he does not know for sure, but he has a reasonable suspicion for him to believe that. And he says the reasonable suspicion comes because of that witness C's recording, the fact that it's currently under police investigation. And everything that has been uttered by Matlala'S in that recording is under police investigation.
Is it possible to avoid the legal debate by simply inquiring from IDEC whether this specific issue is the subject of investigation? If they say it is not, then as I understand Mr. Matlala'S, there would be no reason for him not to answer.
Chairperson, maybe I can deal with that.
Sorry, I was not addressing you. Please wait your turn, Ms. Fani Heever. I'm raising it as a possibility. I'm not saying that's what must happen.
I hear that. We could do that, except that we run the risk of IDEX saying that it's not subject of our investigation. That does not exclude some other law enforcement SAPS investigations, for instance.
Annelene Van den Heever also did not cease to amaze because she came again, objected to the line of questioning around this whole thing and said that these matters are matters that the IDAC is currently busy with and they really can't do much about them because Matlala can't even inquire whether there is an investigation because he's been incarcerated. The legal representative should be doing that. That is why she's there. She should be doing that and find out if there is actually an investigation in relation to the Impalas and Matlala is actually being investigated. It's that simple. Then we started dealing about the issues that Matlala never mentioned. Because there's issues that Matlala was told to answer, he answered them, but there's issues that Matlala was asked to answer, but he never answered them. And one of them was the relationship that he has with Mogotsi. He never answered that, but Mogotsi is important because he was using that Losco African bag. He said that he can't really answer on that, also self-incrimination, and he said that more than anything, there's a docket and it looks like and can't really speak about it because he saw the docket that is in relation to Sergeant Mogotsi and it looks like the matters of Losco Africa has been mentioned. He's not sure, but he thinks that has been mentioned. And we also see another interjection from his representative saying that why should they discuss the issues of the docket in the public domain? Because it seems like there was a discovery, and during discovery they found out about all of this part, which is the segment of Sergeant Mogotsi. Therefore, they can't be discussing it that much because of sub judice as well as the docket, which they can't disclose in public, but also the right to not self-incriminate.
In the docket, is there anything about the transactions made by Sergeant Mogotsi?
I think so. I'm not sure, but during the interview they've mentioned, but I don't know whether they've included in the docket because I haven't seen the contents of the docket yet, but I know there's a disclosure. But
just a minute, please continue.
Yes, but during the interview he's been mentioned. I just don't know whether he's in the docket or not.
Yeah.
Chairperson, just for the record, and I'm sure you know this, the content of such a docket is sub judice. We cannot disclose what's in the docket in public at this point because it relates to an ongoing investigation, of course.
Then we also start seeing the money trail. How the money has been moving, but also that has not been addressed. He was asked, but he didn't address it in his affidavit. And these were monies paid. These monies were also monies either he received or he paid the SAPS members. He said he won't self-incriminate and that when he took loans, it was for purposes of the Medicare 24 SAPS contract and that most of the terms of these loans were oral. He didn't conclude anything in paper.
The client has said, I invoke my right to self-incrimination, and I think that should at this point be the end of it. We will make a supplementary affidavit and deal with these issues so that you can exercise your discretion or deal with it on a legal basis, having the benefit of factual submissions made to you.
Chair, with respect, I think, if I may, this fear of self-incrimination has got limits in law and in life. The question is simple. Were you induced or threatened to give false information? That's all. It's not whether you did give false information, because only then does the issue of perjury arise. It's very simple. Were you induced, threatened, or influenced? No recording is going to answer that question for him. It's a factual issue that only he can speak to. And I don't see how the issue of self-incrimination arises in respect to whether or not he was a victim of influence, inducement, or threats. Thank you.
Chairperson, the moment you answer that as an example in the positive, a number of questions flow from there.
On this topic, we saw two interjections from his legal representative, and I think also that's another thing that was very worrying, that hey, this lawyer was interjecting to anything that is interjectable. Now moving to Ekurhuleni, right? Also not addressed. Ekurhuleni, his relationship with officials or with the entity itself, Ekurhuleni. And he said that he does not have any relationship with Ekurhuleni as an entity, but had a relationship with Julius Mkhwanazi and the issue of the blue light as well as the peace officer cards. And he said he won't discuss that because of self-incrimination. He said that his family members were interviewed. He's not sure if he's going to be charged, but his name was mentioned and he believes that he might be investigated in relation to the blue lights and those peace officer cards. So he didn't want to answer that. And his relationship with Julius Mkhwanazi, who was his friend, and met Julius Mkhwanazi through Mike Van Veek. And both of them, Mike Van Veek, they know each other because they are business associates and they're both in the security industry business.
Do you have such a relationship? What is its nature? So I chose to break it down by referring only to the EMPD, but maybe let me broaden it and say with the EMPD and or including its employees. If so, what's the nature of that relationship?
Not the EMPD, but the EMPD official, yes, I do have a relationship.
And what's the nature and who's the official or who are the officials?
It's only one official. His name is Julius Mkhwanazi.
And what's the nature of that relationship?
I will say he's a friend.
Then we started talking about your DC, of which, guys, today's explosive at the Madlanga Commission. Did you see that already they're starting to read those WhatsApp chats? But we're going to talk about that in the video, in a separate video. Hey, DC, I don't know what they were doing with other countries. What? Let's wait for that episode, okay? Let's first deal with this episode. And he was asked if whether he knows Mswazi Msibi. He said yes, he knows Mswazi Msibi. He provided security services to Mswazi Msibi, and that Mswazi Msibi is an old man, and that he was like a son to Mswazi Msibi.
I place on record that one of my companies, Cat VIP, previously provided security services to the late Jonathan Msibi. My relationship with him was that of rendering security services.
He was asked about Steve Motsumi. He said he borrowed 5 million rands from Steve Motsumi in 2024, and that there was a written agreement in relation to that, and it was because of the Medicare 24 tender, and that Mr. Motsumi is not his friend. He knew him actually as a businessman, and the fact that he's a close friend of Mr. Mswazi Msibi. So he would frequently go to Mswazi Msibi's farm, and that's how he would meet him in that particular farm.
I can confirm that I know Mr. Motsumi and that I have done a commercial transaction with him wherein his company had lent me an advance, one of my companies, an amount of 5 million rands.
No, it's 5 million, right?
Yes, 5 million, yes.
When was this? When was this loan extended?
When was when?
When was this when you say he lent and advanced one of your companies an amount of 5 million?
I think it was 2024, the end of 2024.
And do you have, was this on a basis of a written agreement or just an oral agreement?
Yes, it's a written agreement.
But other than that, no other relationship. Then he spoke about Mike Van Veek, and that he doesn't want to self-incriminate because, speak about Mike Van Veek, also who was working with him in the tender, Medicare 24, he said he doesn't want to speak about him because of self-incrimination, and that Mike is currently the state witness, and they were never friends, they were only business partners.
I do not wish to incriminate myself, as Mike was a CEO of my company, Medicare, the very same company that had a contract with SAPS. I therefore claim my right to not incriminate myself.
Just to check my understanding, as CEO of Medicare 2420.
Yes.
That is the company that was awarded the contract, that concluded the SAPS contract.
Yes, that's true.
I'm correct that Mr. Van Veek is not one of the accused in that matter. He's not charged.
He's a state witness.
He's a state witness.
Yes.
And he used his company to protect himself. He used Mike's company to protect himself. And yeah, he said they were close, kind of. They were seeing each other every day, but they were not friends. I don't know if he's angry that Mugai has turned state witness, even though Mike Van Veek has refuted to speak about him turning state witness at the last time when he appeared at the ENCA. But what we know is that Mike Van Veek, we heard from Advocate Roshinta Ramsamy that he was approached by IDAC to be the Section 204 witness in relation to this tender. Clearly, which means they were able to convince him. Hence all of this.
I have a problem to put the map out to make sure that this all comes out.
I have to unfortunately
I just want to ask the last question before he's going to punish me. Have you turned state witness or going Section 204 for this current case right now involving the cops?
I cannot answer you.
But one of the interesting things that I saw from one of the evidence leaders, which is Advocate Silo is how she was really probing a lot about the relationship between Mike and Matlala. You know, even asking, is there any other relationship outside of this one? And it just made me think, I know even someone else, Pule Little Jones, also was with me on this one. The probing is as if they know something, that the relationship was above business. But I just remembered those rumors that were flying around that Matlala was spending a lot of times in those afternoon clubs with Musa Kawula, which was insinuating that he might also be an afternoon himself. But those are serious allegations, guys. I don't want to entertain that, but it's something that just came into my mind during the time.
Business, did you have any other relationship? I'd asked. I know he's not your friend, you know. Is there any other relationship besides business that you maintained?
The relationship, I think maybe if you can try to help me understand what kind of relationship are you referring to?
No, and maybe you have interests outside the security association that you have spoken of, outside Medicare. He could be an enthusiast in the same sports or things that you enjoy, that you participate together in. And I'm mentioning these relationships that would fall short of being a friend, a personal friend. But it's an acquaintance that you socialize with, you spend a lot of social, out of professional space, time with.
Mr. Matlala went to places where Mr. Kaula usually frequented, and you had this belief that they may see him there and they can assist in the arrest.
I don't know how Mr. Matlala lives his wife and whether how he lives his life and whether he frequents those places. Because those places, the way I know, I don't know how to call it, Chair.
Then he was asked about Ignatius Mtagati, and he also said Mtagati is a friend Gababu Msibi and is not his friend. And was asked about. Then we move to Andrew Boy Mteta, also friends of Msibi and has no relationship with him. Katiso Molefe, no relationship or dealings with him, is a friend of Mr. Msibi and met them at Msibi's place in the farm. And now let us move to the burning issue, which is Mogotsi. And he says that Mogotsi lied about that he's from the minister's office and wanted money because he just wanted money from Matlala. He was suffering money and no prior dealings or never met him before the raid in his house. So Mogotsi was interested in Matlala after those raids that were happening in Matlala's house and said that he wanted Matlala to actually open a case against the SAPS and wants to assist. And somehow Matlala started giving this guy money. And when this guy realized that actually there is money here, he then wanted more money in the guise of saying, I'll speak to the minister on your behalf. We're going to sort this out. I'll speak to the minister. We're going to sort this out. I'll speak to the minister. We're going to sort this out. When we opened our eyes, just like that, the situation was worse. This guy wanted money all the time, including the January 8th event of the ANC. But here we are finding out that now Senzo Mchunu now starts entering the chat. And Begitgal was supposed to assist Matlala with these issues of the raids that were happening, his firearms being taken, and someone called Matlala and said, I know someone that will help you, the former Minister of Police, which is Begitgal. Begitgal, we know, also was siphoning money from Matlala through that Woolworth bag. And we also know that Mogotsi also got even more money from Matlala for that event of the ANC. But we are finding out from Matlala that all of this was championed by Begitgal, because Begitgal thought if they can just play along Mogotsi's game, they'll be able to get to the Minister of Police, the one that is currently suspended, Senzo Mchunu. And the reason why they believe that is because Senzo Mchunu apparently wanted Khumalo gone, of which for me is not a shocker. With what we've heard with the art extreme, nothing shocks me about Mchunu's role when it comes to the IDAC and when it comes to Senzo Mchunu, the crime intelligence. I'm not shocked by that. But we know that both of these two individuals, Mchunu, they had their own battles and they used to name it even Zulu War. We spoke about Zulu War, ad hoc, Madlanga. It has just been spoken about a lot. So Begitgal is like, continue with Mogotsi. Don't make him see that you don't trust him anymore, that he doesn't know the minister. Probably if you give him money, actually we will find out about Begitgal. I will find out more about Senzo Mchunu, whether he has any role to play in all of this or not.
But because of what Mr. Taylor said, I just kept him close. So to a day when I eventually got arrested.
So you eventually got to appreciate what, in fact, Mr. Mogotsi was doing.
Of course, yes.
And what was he doing?
It's two things here which I cannot be 100% sure. It's either he was using the minister's name, Mr. Senzo Mchunu's name, to swindle money from me, or he was working with him, but still he was asking money also on the side. So even today, I cannot be 100% sure whether he was working with him or not.
Okay.
But I know that he was using his name to ask money from me.
Okay.
Can I just get clarity on this? Other than him saying he will help you open cases against the police for the raid at your house 6 December 2024 and the raid at your offices that ended up at your house, what did he say you were going to get in return for helping him? What was in it for you?
For helping him.
For helping him, yeah. So other than the issue of him helping you open the 2 cases, what did he say was the benefit for you giving him money?
No, the benefit was not for me, it was for him.
And he was even shocked about how Mogotsi was actually pushing this thing and pushing that actually they should go. Matlala should go and open a case with the IP'd. And he felt like, he was used as a pawn to fight the PKTT. He felt like there was a fight between one side and the PKTT, and they wanted to use him as a pawn to advance that particular fight. We also heard that Matlala actually hates Brown Mogotsi because he caused him a lot of problems. So according to Matlala, that's what Brown Mogotsi wanted. But what Begitsele wanted is that Begitsele wanted Matlala to invest money so he can benefit somewhere, somehow. And Matlala benefited from Begitsele. So how did Matlala benefit from all of the situation? In terms of Begitsele, he benefited by getting his firearms back. But with Brown Mogotsi, it's not clear as to what he benefited. Hence, I think he hates Brown Mogotsi because he got nothing out of it. Instead, this mess that happened, because it is Brown Mogotsi went and contacted Lieutenant Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and spilled all the beans about what was going on with Senzo Mchunu and what he knows, the fact that he has documents, classified crime intelligence documents. All of this mess was Brown Mogotsi. Then let us speak about Hangwan Maumela. Says Hangwan Maumela is his friend and conducted business with him and was the director of his company, which is VI Protection, and does not want to talk about that because of what? Self-incrimination, since the SIU is still investigating. Spoke about Suliman Carrim, saying he funded his Medicare 24 company through Tasmika and that they had an oral agreement of him advancing money amounting to 10 million rands, and he has an agreement that has not been signed of these people. Oh, it's 15 million rands, but yeah, everything has just happened, verbally. That is when we heard Advocate Sello saying, she's so jealous because people are just giving Matlala money. Oficio, I wish I had those type of friends, hey? Those ones are my friends. Don't you want to give me 20 million? Hey, I'm joking. I don't think you guys have that type of money. Unless you do, you are hiding. Unless you do, you're hiding. Nani, guys, try your friends. Hey, try them. Probably you have friends that have money. Hey, you might not know. You might think your friends don't have anything. You are dealing with the Suliman Carrim.
Mr. Matlala, before you approached, you say you knew Mr. Carrim. He had a company, a security company. Also had a security company. Before you approached him for this loan, what was the nature of your relationship with him?
With some, for me to end up knowing him, he also used to come and visit Mr. Msibi at his farm, and then because he will see me there now and then, we ended up being close. So maybe I will also say because of the advice that we'll share within the security industry, so we ended up becoming close.
Obviously, Miguel interfered also in all of this. The lawyer was interfering. Now let us talk about the banning issue. The very important last point of this video, which is the bank accounts. So they want the bank accounts to verify everything because there's money trails between Steve Motsumi and Carrim. And these people have borrowed money, and Matlala said he satisfied the debt. Now we need to see the banking details. Actually, we want to see the banking statement to see whether Matlala did give Motsumi back his money and whether Matlala gave Carrim back his money and how much did he give Carrim, because he said he paid Carrim, but we don't know how much he paid Carrim. So now they want to subpoena his bank statement because Godzilla interfered and said, Ella, allegedly, okay, they said, you know what, Ella, you are not going to speak as if you have bank statements, because you speak as if you have bank statements and all of those things. And they said, no, we don't have the bank statements, but what we're going to do is that we are going to subpoena the bank statement, and that is where the rot resides.
To tell us that 10 million is outstanding would incriminate you, whereas telling us that 3 million is outstanding will not incriminate you. I hope you get what I'm saying. So as to the amount that is outstanding on that loan, it's a fact, and if you could just advise us of that, I would appreciate it.
Commissioner, I don't think I'll be able to because I do not have my bank statements, but I don't know if the Commission has my bank statements. We can check from there and then it will show how much was paid and how much is outstanding.
Well, but then we can only do so if you tell us how many bank accounts you were paying from.
It was paid from my Medicare bank account.
The Medicare
yes.
bank account?
Yes.
Then we'd have to know the terms. You spoke of at 10% of the value of the contract, a whole number of, information, some information will have to be put at our disposal to be able to interpret your bank accounts. Then we'd have to know who the loan was being paid to. Is it to Mr. Carrim directly, to a company? You said Tamiz, or which company? How do we trace who is receiving repayment on the loan? You'd have to give us those indications, then at least we know what to start searching for.
So, Chairperson, do I understand my learned friend correctly that the Commission is in possession of the bank statements?
I apologize, Chair. No.
Guys, if they can get these bank statements, the can of worms will be opened. And I don't know if the advocate will actually, the legal representative of Matlala will actually find a way for them to actually be slimy around that, because they're very good at being slimy. But I trust that if Madlanga can subpoena, they won't be as slimy, because which means they'll get everything. Matlala said that his bank accounts have been frozen. This is the reason why Carrim never appeared ever at the Commission. He was asked to bring his bank statements so that they can find out what is actually going on, get the audit reports. Because you can't be having companies and so much money and your companies are not audited. So they needed the audit reports because large amounts of money were actually leaving the account. So that is what we see even here with the case of Matlala. Large amounts of money are leaving the account, others are entering the account, all of that. And the question remains, is there any other thing that is actually going on with the account of Matlala that we don't know? Which is that issue that Advocate Chaskasa spoke about, money laundering. So we don't know what is actually going on here. And as I've said, Carrim stopped coming to the Commission because of such issues. Will Matlala stop coming? Or will the advocate find ways for her to actually try to make the Madlanga to actually not probe more? Because that is here where the issue is. That is where here the can of worm is. I don't know what you guys think about this testimony. To me, I was just fine with it. Because as I've said, the matters are before the court. There's nothing we can do about that. It's just unfortunate that he got arrested before. I wish he got arrested after all of this. Probably we're going to get more answers. Actually, I think he was going to run if he got arrested. He was going to hit a Carrim on us and a Mike Van Veek and a General Khan on us, of which I heard also that Khan is appearing next month.
We have just been told by our sources that General Feroz Khan has received a Rule 10.6 notice, effectively also ensuring that he is subpoenaed to appear before the Commission on the 1st and the 2nd of September. We understand that there are a number of issues he will be expected to touch on, including his relationship with Andrea Johnson, the former IDAC boss, and of course the case that was registered and open against him, where Brigadier Lenora Petla accuses him of assault and his misconduct as well as a subordinate. And that's what we understand for now. Those are just some of the issues that they will be expected to answer to. Nothing else. The legal team, we understand, has also been furnished with the older 10.6 notice as well. We've reached out to the Commission. They haven't responded to our request yet, but as far as we understand, Khan is expected to appear before the Commission on the 1st and, of course, the 2nd of September. We know that he's still receiving medical attention. We tried to reach out to his legal team. That has not been the case. They're not taking our calls or messages whatsoever. But from his camp and the sources we've spoken to, it's unlikely that he will want to continue this testimony given his medical fitness as well.
So, yeah, let's see actually how this undergoes. Just think that it's the first days and we should not judge him that much. Let us see how it goes. But so far, the legal representative is actually testifying on his behalf. And secondly, this privilege is standing in the way for us to get all the answers, of which I foresaw this a long time ago, because these matters are still before the court. It's the rules, it's South African rules, that's how things are. Nonetheless, let me hear what you think about everything at this particular episode. Otherwise, guys, I'll see you on my next upload. Bye.